Law with Tessie and my husband Charles, and we are happy to join you guys today to discuss another situation and topic, kind of go through some things that we've experienced in our life and our journey as married partners, parents, business owners, just, living life, doing our thing. We wanted to share some of our experiences with you. So, what we're going to be about today is how you make a tough decision under pressure.
hmm
Again, just as a married couple, we have decisions to make for our children, business owners making those decisions. Just in life, there are always going to be tough decisions to make. I know how I make my tough decisions in the process I go through. How do you make your tough decisions?
I make the decision.
What does that mean?
That means you think about the pros and the cons, you weigh it out, and then you make the decision. Um sometimes there's a lot more thought involved in it than that. If you have the time to think about it, but for the most part, you make the decision and roll with it. And be comfortable in whatever decision it is that you made.
Do you talk to anybody before you make tough decisions?
Sometimes yes, other times not so much. I mean, it just depends. It varies.
What are the topics that would make you consult with someone else and not just make the decision on your own?
Mm, I was maybe if it has to do with children, I may consult with someone else that has children. Um, Mainly, I'm going to talk to you about it, but outside of that, it just it just varies. But if it's involving um, maybe marriage advice or something that I want somebody that has some tenure in it, I may ask my grandparents their opinion.
But besides your grandparents, who else do you talk to about our marriage when you have questions?
Questions or venting, two
Well,
different things.
well, true, true.
So asking questions, venting, I mean that's different. Ask them a question of what I should do
Mm-hmm.
off the top of my head. If it's not a grandparent, nobody. I may occasionally ask one of my uncles.
Yeah, your Uncle Henry's been married a long time
I,
too.
I will ask him, but
Mm-hmm.
outside of asking them a question, a marriage question, if it's not one of my uncles, nobody.
Okay. So if you had to make a decision career, about your career and what to do with your career, how would you make those decisions?
Well, the most recent one that I made, um, leaving the fire department, that was I don't think I talked to you about it, and outside of that,
Mm-hmm.
I may have talked to my cousin briefly about it, but I don't think I it was a round table decision. It was something that I thought about, and when the timing of it came up, I felt like I was being put on the spot, and my answer was no.
But
So,
being put on the spot by who?
when we went to the workshop, one of our business coaches, and they were like, "Hey, Charles, you need to look this," and I don't. Y'all put me on the spot. I don't like this, and putting me on the spot, my answer is no, not that.
Okay, so some of the backdrop is Charles and I have business coaches, and we were at one of our conferences, and a lot of our coaches was telling Charles that he had been involved in the business at the beginning for 4 years, and that he knew so much about the business that he should come back to the business and work with me in helping to develop the business. He could help with the sales portion of the business. And they were saying, you know so much about the business, you should join the business, and the two of you together could do something really big. And he, and I remember this, you kept saying, you felt like they were forcing you or trying to force you to join the business. And when they mentioned, I was like, that's a good idea. And you were saying, oh, I sell my wife all the time. Like I'm always promoting her and I'm always,
hmm
trying to refer people to her law firm. But you didn't feel like you needed to necessarily be there at the firm full time.
hmm
And then what happened after that, though? Because obviously you're here.
Well, so the part to that was it felt like all one weekend. Charles, you have to make this decision right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, meanwhile, I had moved up, gotten several promotions, and y'all like make this decision right now. Well, I don't. Some of the reasons are some of my concerns when I left. I still had those concerns, and they weren't resolved. So it was yes, you sell your wife, and you can, I promote her all the time, but you're also doing well here. You're moving up, and certainly I think it's going to be an opportunity for you to make another move here. Now, when it comes to the firm, yes, we have a business, but how I felt then um, was it was her firm, her decisions to be made, and you kind of got to run some of the decision making through me, but ultimately at the end of the day, it wasn't my decision to make. And although you're saying leave this job that you've worked hard and got these certifications for, and now leave this to go here, I still have some unresolved issues of what does this look like? How does this work? So when they're saying, "All right, this is you're going to make this decision this weekend and we're going to go into the firm full speed at no, we're not." Y'all can jump all on board and say this is what we're going to do, but I'm not comfortable saying I'm leaving this job that I've worked hard for. I'm getting ready to get another one. So let's leave this where you kind of know both situations what you're getting into,
Both career
but
paths.
unfortunately, and this career path, I feel a little bit more hurt than I do at this one.
Hmm.
So what to do. Coincidentally, was that before? Was that right after the foot surgery, or is it? It was no, it was
It was
after.
after the foot surgery, and just to fall back when you said on this one, meaning the fire department, you feel a little bit more heard than you do at the law firm, where it's a lot more of my name on the door and my decisions to make, and me being a lot more focused on business development than you were at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, a lot of the decisions, and by a lot of them, 99% of them were my decisions to make. And because at that time, it was more of a part time thing for you filling time until you went to do something else. So for me, I'm all in. This is what I'm doing. This is something I've been focused on doing, being an attorney since forever, since elementary school. This is what I want to do. For you, it was like I'm helping Tessie. And so our drive was very different for that. The fire department, I felt like was truly a career that suited who you are, just the guys, the banter. Like they're still really good friends of yours now. A lot of athletes that all of y'all had that still locker room brotherhood and hung out kind of thing. And it was different enough every day for you to go on different calls. You weren't sitting behind a desk. Like it was truly more suited to who you are.
And it was a lot more to take into consideration.
A lot to take into consideration. But ultimately, you called the shot. And it was interesting because initially making that decision, which was going to be, in my opinion, a very permanent decision. Initially, you didn't want to join the firm for all the reasons you just said, and I was a little offended. Like, what do you mean you don't want to join the firm? And blah 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 blah. And you told me all the same reasons you're telling me now about it then, and then you had the foot surgery and you had some complications with that and you were out of work or couldn't work because you
You
couldn't
were on
walk.
bed rest.
You couldn't walk. And you came to the firm and you were there for how long? Was it 6 weeks or 8 weeks?
Something somewhere around, we'll just say 6 or 7, but it was more than 30 days. I was stuck in the bed.
And so you came to the firm, and I had to bring him to the firm because he would not sit still. He was literally on the ground, army crawling all around the house and
Stir crazy.
re injuring his foot. And so I bought a lazy boy sofa that reclined so he could come to the office and sit still and I could make sure he wasn't
Trying to cut the grass on the zero turn.
with feet bleeding, literally. And so you came to the office, but while you're at the office, hey, could you do this? Could you do that? Could you do this? And you coming to the office to help, well, coming to the office because you had to, but while you were there assisting, it was very interesting because having that additional help with someone that knew the firm as well as you knew it, in that month you increased the sales and the profitability of the firm
We made my salary at the fire department.
in 1 month. An increase. Very important to note. Not we made your salary. What
Yeah.
you made in a year, you made in addition to what I was already making in 1 month at the firm.
And that's when it somewhat changed because it was the scenario of, and I like my job, and yes, we're saving people, but the 24 on, 48 off, and I think I did the math, something where it was after 10 years, you missed 3 years at the house because 24 on, 48 off. 10 years, you miss 3 years of your family's life. And if I'm running this hard and doing this much for somebody else, but I now have been at the firm for just these month and a half, 2 months, I've made my salary. It makes a lot more sense to me to work this hard for my family opposed to somebody that if I quit tomorrow, they're going to be fine. The machine's going to keep going. So I rather run myself raggedy or ragged, however you want to call it,
Hmm.
be this tired for my family. And that's ultimately what made me say, all right, well, we're going with the firm all in 100% and not really looking back. So you say how you make a hard decision when it makes sense and it is what it is. So that's what made the decision for me.
What if you don't have the support of your friends and family when you have to make that decision?
Supportive friends and family, but I have yours.
Of course, you have my support, but
Then that's all that matters because at the end of the day, that's the person I'm going to be here with. When it whether it goes up in smoke or it flourishes. I mean, my friends and family, I'll somewhat hear their opinion, but I mean, when we first got together, everybody had their opinions, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna make my decision. I'm not gonna
that is a
look
very
back at it.
that talking about when we first got together. That was another. I don't think that that was a tough decision for me, but it was a decision to make because everybody had an opinion even about that. Making tough decisions. Your family had things to say. I don't think my family had anything to say, but it was a decision to get back in a relationship so soon for both of us. Actually, both of us were like,
I mean, everybody had concerns from different aspects of what they thought was the things that we needed to look into. But as far as
yeah,
what they thought, I mean, I'll be honest, I give a damn what the hell they think. It's
yeah. You
you're
have a
not
little bit
here.
more of that than I do.
I again, you're not the one that's here day to day that has to deal with whatever the highs and lows of whatever we have going on. So, yeah, I mean, I'll listen to you out of respect, and sometimes you have some valid points that I may. Well, that's a good point. At the end of the day, don't care. It's my decision to be made, and how's it going to affect us at the end of the day?
So, what would be your advice for someone else that's facing a tough decision and they're wobbling back and forth? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do the third? What would be your advice to your younger self?
Probably think about what that decision looks like a couple years from now, and if you're happy with that decision on what it looks like a couple years from now, to do that. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one that have to deal with the consequences of whatever decision that is. There's always going to be pros and cons to every one of them, but make sure that's the one that you want. Think about what it looks like 3 years down the line and roll with it and don't regret it. That's it.
Or what if it was a negative outcome? You said don't regret it, but what if you made a decision? What if you made the decision to leave the fire department and you came to work at the firm and we flopped? The firm did not do well and we had to kind of fold it up or something.
So what did you learn from that? What did you learn from that decision? It still is a win at the end of the day. The firm flopped. Why did it flop? What could you have done differently? When you left the fire department, should you have left it as soon? Should you have waited? What can you take away from this to make you better for the next go round? Are you gonna try to reopen the firm? But it still wasn't a loss. It wasn't a bad decision. What did you learn from it? If you tell me you didn't learn anything, then I'm concerned. That would concern me.
Would you try to open the firm again or would you try to start another business? At this point, having been a all-in entrepreneur, your return to the firm, what, 3 years ago now? 4 years? I
I,
don't know.
my you said what I want to open another firm.
Another business of any kind.
I don't know. Maybe open another business. I would be open to um, opening another business because I'm not an attorney and I can't own a law firm. I don't know that I personally would open another one. Would I be against opening another business? Oh no, I would definitely um, be willing to open another business. Hopefully, the things that I definitely know some of the things that I learned in this business, I could transition over to the next endeavor. and try to take some of the pros and the cons. But I wouldn't be against opening another business. No. Would you be against opening another business? Would you want to open another firm? I mean, I guess my concern would be what happened to this one?
Well, I think that we've learned so much in growing this business that I agree with you. I would take the lessons from this one and I would do this again because I know so much about this and it is my passion. So, opening additional businesses, making the tough choice to start a different business, a separate business, do the research, look into it, make sure it's something that's, it has to serve a need. It has to be something you want to do and something that serves a need. And then I would do it again. I would absolutely 100% do it again. It wouldn't be a tough choice for me to open another business. I don't ever see myself working for anybody else other than myself ever again. Um, as you know, it's a hypothetical question. We're in the process of opening another business. We have the two firms now,
Hmm.
but open another business that's not law related.
Hmm.
And so this is just
One of many.
one of many. But the tough choices part, circling back around to the tough choices, there are a lot of times that you and I make a lot of tough choices, even when it comes to our children,
Hmm.
finances, houses. The tough choice now, where we're going back and forth with whether or not we're going to sell this house, whether we're going to buy this house, whether we're going to move.
I don't think that's a tough choice though.
Well,
That's
see, it was
just
a tough choice for me. It was a
to whether we're going to keep the other house or we're going to sell the other house or whether we're going to move.
when it came to the decisions of whether we were going to keep our former house or sell it,
Hmm.
because I feel like it could be a very good financial investment. And you were like, I'm over it. Let's move it. So tough, I wouldn't say tough. It was still a decision to make.
Hmm.
Still a decision to make. And I think about things a little more, like haggle over them, stew over them a little longer than you do. When you made the decision, that's what we're going to do, then I can get behind it. And it makes it easier for me sometimes for you to just make the decision. And
Hmm.
then I can just support the decision that you made because I'm going to go back and forth with it two or three more times. And when you just said, no, we're just going to sell it and then move on and buy another property or something different. So it helps me a lot for you to take the lead sometimes and just make the decision.
It sounds good.
It does sound good. If it's a decision that I'm okay with you making, you go ahead and make that decision. Other decisions, I feel like we need to collaborate on more. Some of them you're saying it sounds
Most
good.
decisions.
Of course, it's my life. I'm going to collaborate. I'm going to be involved in most decisions that affect my life. But if I don't know, and you need to be making the decision and steering the ship on decisions that affect your life, that means most of the decisions that you make that involves me, I'm going to be a part of.
Hmm.
Absolutely. But if it's a decision that I don't want to make, and I say, Charles, it's your decision, it's because I don't want to go back and forth with it. Like Chambers, I could have easily kept Chambers, and we were having this conversation not 2 days ago. And you keep circling back to, no, we're just going to let it go. We're just going to sell it. Okay. Then that's why we're going to sell it. They say
Hmm.
it sounds good. Okay, it sounds good. There are some things that I don't want to be involved in. And there's other things that I'm going to be 100% deep dive in. And there's things that you come to me and ask me to make the decision, and you get mad when I tell you I'm not going to make that decision for you. You need to make that decision. It's such a simple decision. You make the decision. But you'll come and ask me, and you'll get in the habit of asking me, Tessie, A or B. Charles, I'm not answering that. Make the decision. And I'm going to literally walk away and let you make the decision because it's become a habit of yours more to ask me. And then you make those faces like, oh, you're going to make a decision? Yes. You ask me to make a decision all the time. And they get mad because I'm making the decision.
Hmm.
And I've said that how many times to you? You ask me to make the decision 99% of the time and then be sarcastic like, oh, you're going to make the decision. Yes, because you leave it to me to make. And if you leave it to me to make, I will make it.
Mm.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
A difference of opinions on that one.
Then what is your opinion?
That you said I asked you to make the decision, and I ask you to make the decision, and then you say I get mad at you because you didn't make the decision, and I asked you.
Some of the questions are not hard decisions to make. And so I know we're talking about how do you make a hard decision, how do you get through, make tough decisions day to day. But every decision is not a hard decision. Some of the decisions that we have to make on a day-to-day basis are very simple decisions to make.
Mm-hmm.
And then you make the decision. You make the decision like the infamous, what you want for dinner? Know what you want for dinner. Know what you want for dinner.
That's different.
That is different.
We're gonna have that at least 4 or 5 times this week, and it's Monday.
However, some of the little questions that you ask me
Mm-hmm.
are questions that I feel like you can make yourself. And you still look at me back,
Such as.
red or blue. Which one, red or blue? I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me, red or blue. It almost feels rude after I say it when I'm saying, I don't care, just make a decision. And you'll come ask me the little bitty questions that don't take me to collaborate with you to make
Mm-hmm.
small day to day decisions. You said, I will ask you why you did things or why you put something somewhere and it doesn't make sense.
The garage, for instance. You'll say,
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't make sense. How you have these tools and all this stuff together. But when you ask me, can you go get me the screw? And I go out there and walk and find it makes a lot of sense to me. But when you organize the kitchen, some of the places that you put things, it doesn't make sense to me. But after repetition of it, I know that it's there. It is what it is.
What does that have to do with making a decision?
Because what was the decision to even put it there? I don't think pot should have went there. They should have went somewhere else. So you're saying what is the decision behind that? The decision for me to organize my garage the way that I did is because it makes sense to me why I put that there. Now, when you say what is the point of red or blue, and I'm asking you red or blue, because sometimes I'll put on blue, and then you say, you know what? I don't like how this looks, or I'm gonna change it again, or I don't like how this fits, or this didn't work out, or I don't have shoes for this. So when I'm asking you red or blue, I'm trying to go ahead and see which one it maybe I should elaborate on my question and say, do you have a whole outfit to match this whole blue shirt or this
That's
whole
not the
red
point of
thing?
what I'm saying at all. You went way off left.
Well,
What I'm talking about is the topic we're talking about is decision making. That's it, just
mm-hmm.
decision making. And what I'm saying is sometimes we have momentous decisions to make. What are we going to do? Who are we going to hire for this? What are we going to do for that? Where are we going to move the children's school? Other times the decisions are very, very small. And you sometimes, and I sometimes will get this fatigue. I think Daryl called it decision making fatigue,
Mm-hmm.
where it's the smallest little things. You're just so tired of making decisions all day long that I just don't care. Hey, do you want to, buy the purple pull ups or you want me to grab these blue ones? I don't care. I just need you to grab pull ups. It doesn't even matter to me which pull ups. It doesn't matter if it's Huggies or Pampers. Just get some pull ups.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
So you
And
have you have decision fatigue a lot. Is what
yes,
you're
because
saying?
I feel like I make a lot of decisions all day long, and then I come home, and somewhere between you and Charles, I get asked 10 more questions that are not serious enough that I need to answer those questions for you. I
Okay.
want you to make some more of those little decisions. And I know there are days that you want me to make the questions when I come ask you, Charles, how do I find this thing? Whatever it is that I've put up, you've put up, something electronic that you've shown me 10 or 15 times how to do, and I ask you to come show me again because I haven't even tried to do it. I'm just saying sometimes decisions are very hard, very big, very high up. Other times they're so little, but they pile up. So, how do you get through the little decisions and not have decision making fatigue?
I don't know how I get through the little decisions because honestly, if we have to discuss them, they feel about the same, whether they're the big ones or the little ones for me.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm
So,
saying. It's the fatigue of just this.
so I
My
don't know.
brain warps out sometimes, and I'm just exhausted.
I don't even know. I don't know if I get exhausted. It's just trying to figure out what page you're on when making that decision.
What page I'm on?
Mm-hmm. So I don't. If I'm asking you something that seems remedial,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you because I can't make the decision. I'm just trying to make sure that it's whatever that you want. Whether it's the blue cup or the red one, I don't care. But sometimes it seems like how you react to me choosing the blue cup or the red cup. So now I'm just not knowing, where you are in the moment, how you're feeling. You want the red one or the blue one? I'm not asking it to frustrate you. I'm just trying to check the temperature. And it's for me, it's that a lot more than which one should we choose? I'll just grab one, and I don't know where you are because we could have. had a conversation earlier about something. I guess that was a serious decision to be made
Mm-hmm.
on what is the next hire that we're going to make, or is this going to be the forever home? And you were so involved and emotional and in it that now when it comes time to, well, what color curtains? Charlie, I don't care about the curtains. No, 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 no. We need to know what.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to understand that there are levels to decision making. If we're talking about who we're hiring and what forever home we're going to purchase, yes, I'm going to be a lot more vocal. I'm going to be a lot more involved. You're like, no, 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 no. Okay, so when we're talking about pizza now, we're talking about Marco's versus Johnny's Pizza. You're like, no, 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 I don't want to make a decision about the pizza because you were so wrapped up in the decision about the hire. There's different levels to this stuff. So, yes, I'm going to
Agreed.
take that decision about a hire or a home a lot different than whose pizza we're ordering or red or
And
blue.
and then probably some of it is knowing your person
Mm-hmm.
and knowing, I guess, sometimes it has nothing to do with the decision and you're just round tight because of something totally different. And me not recognizing that yet, I'm asking you, you want the red or the blue one? Still not understanding what the underlying issue is. So I'm asking you, still trying to dance into why is she kind of wound this way? Why is she
Because some
responding
of
this
it
way?
is, as the CEO of a firm and all the decisions at this level that I have to make all day long, when we're coming to some of the little decisions, the best decision is to not have me have to make a decision. And sometimes it is a blessing and it is as sweet as roses when I come home for me not to have to make a decision.
Figuring out that song and dance sometimes is easier said than done.
Yeah.
And although I might miss the mark, you'd be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, you did that. Well, wait a minute. Well, did you look and see what was in the account before you made this act of kindness, great decision?" No, I didn't. I was just thinking this was gonna make you happy, and I bought it. And you were
Oh,
like,
well,
"No, that's not the decision I was thinking of. I was thinking more of a
you can be sweet and kind, but yes, you always need to look in the account. Doing one kind thing doesn't
I
excuse
I
another.
I
I don't
understand.
understand.
You said not understand my
I'm trying. I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
sometimes you're saying make a decision and it's
Hmm.
not that simple. It just isn't that simple. Whether it's a small one or a big one, it could for example, we could get into an argument about a sock on the floor. It's not about the sock on the floor. It's something else. Sometimes you can make a decision about do I want the red Kool-Aid or the blue Kool-Aid, and we get an argument about the red and the blue Kool-Aid, and it has nothing to do with the Kool-Aid at all. And I'm saying sometimes in those situations, when you say make the decision, it's not as simple as to make that small decision because there's some underlining tone outside of just making the decision that I'm still trying to figure out is are we making a decision? Is she upset about the Kool-Aid that I chose or not making the decision, or is there something outside of that? And knowing your person, sometimes it's not as simple as
But I
the red
understand
or the
what you're
blue
saying.
Kool-Aid.
I understand what you're saying, and I honestly feel like that's a different conversation for a different day because that's not what I'm asking you though.
Okay.
What I'm asking is how do you make tough decisions? Now, when you're talking about whether or not we're arguing about the sock on the floor, that's very different. You're right. There's an underlying issue, and it's not the sock on the floor. But that's not what I'm asking you. What I'm asking is how do you make tough decisions? How do you make tough decisions, and then how do you make little decisions?
The same
N-
way I make them both the same way.
which is
Think about it and make the choice that I think is the best one. I'm going to consider pros, cons, and then I'll make the decision. I don't, if it's something that is going to affect the family significantly, I'll take a little bit more time, but I don't think the time, whether it's a whole day, I'll take 24 hours, how that 24 hours is broken up over a week, or if it's 24 hours, over straight 24 hours, I'm going to take the pros and the cons and I'll make the decision and roll with it. And that's
I think this is one of the reasons why we generally balance each other out.
because you're going to ask a lot of
I'm
questions.
gonna ask a lot of
You're going, and then
questions.
you're going
I'm
to
gonna.
ask them again.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and say, Charles, you sleep? Nah, I'm not asleep anymore. What do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good idea. And I'm gonna go back to sleep and be like, did you go to sleep? No, I'm up. I'm up. And then we going talk about it. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to talk about it until you feel comfortable about the decision.
That's right.
And I'm going to think about it until it makes sense. And once it makes sense, for the same, we get into the same places. It's just, I'm using comfortable and it makes sense, but it's the same interchangeably. You're going to beat the question
If
up
you were
several different ways.
if you were to, on a scale of 1 to 10, I need all 10 minutes. I need all 10 pieces of
And I need probably
information.
about 6 or 7, and you need 10.
Yeah, I think I know that I'm going to weigh the consequences more. I'm going to look at the pros and the cons more. I look at the benefits, the opportunities. I'm just going to look at it a lot deeper before I make that decision.
What are the difference in the decisions? Some decisions are way differently than other, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, which is what I was saying a few minutes ago. There are different levels to decision making when you say, if I'm going to hire somebody, is this the forever home, or whether we're talking about red or blue, whatever. To me, the way that I process the information is there are different levels, different types of scenarios. Some things are huge and they're mountains, some things are boulders, and some things are stones and pebbles. And so it just depends on how big the decision, how much gravity, how much information, how much time, energy, and effort I'm going to put into that.
But is the thought process on how you address them the same?
No, no, not at all. If there's a decision to make, and to me it is a mountain, meaning it's a huge decision, a life changing decision, I'm going to put a lot of time, energy, effort, maybe read an audiobook, consult with other people. I'm going to toy over it, wake up in the middle of the night over it. Well, like when I'm dealing with clients, when I a criminal case, if it's a divorce with someone's children, those were those thoughts that I wake up in the middle of the night and I have an idea, or I'm thinking of a parenting plan, or I think of this piece of evidence or something with our children. If it's something that's going to have a ripple effect that I'm still feeling 5, 10 years from now, I'm going to make that decision a hell of a lot more serious. And then you have, and those are mountains. And then you have boulders. They're serious, thoughtful things that need to be done, like buying a car. Buying a home is more serious than buying a car for me. Where I go to college, what I major in, who I marry, all mountains. Having another child, all mountains. Who I hire to bring into my energy, to bring into our firm, which is going to affect our livelihood, mountains. The boulders are, what car am I going to buy? You know, I'll change a car every 2 or 3 years. It's a serious decision, but it's not life changing what car I buy.
I don't even consider that a decision. You kind of just say, go pick something out. I'm good. This
You're
is what I
missing the
want.
point. My point is, what car I drive, you drive, whatever. Those are, to me, boulders. They're serious conversations. The pebbles, in an analogy. Buying a house is a mountain. Buying a car, to me, is a boulder. You change them more frequently than you buy houses. It's not as expensive, not as time consuming, not going to affect where your kids go to school, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
What I have for lunch, what I buy for lunch, is really a pebble.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that serious. I'm not going to lose sleep. Wait a minute, are we going to have Panera? Are we going to have Chipotle?
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, a pebble. What sweater I buy is it's a pebble.
Understood.
But you have things that are in the middle that are a lot more serious. It's just small, medium, and large.
I
A
understand.
lot of things in life, for me making decisions, I have to put them in those categories and making
So
that decision.
short of the
Mhm.
food, which ones are boulders and which ones, minus the car, because I feel like the car is a pebble for you, not even a boulder.
It is. Hmm.
What is a boulder and what's a mountain outside of a new hire or a home purchase?
We have custody of the grandbabies. That was a mountain. Making a decision to take on, to start over with a new baby. That was a mountain. It is going to change my life, your life, our family's life forever if we take full custody of our granddaughter. And then
Mm-hmm.
in a year later, oh, you're going to get it. We needed to get her sister in the same situation with health issues. Are we going to take on another baby and start again? Absolutely a mountain. Mount Everest on crack is what that was, to take two babies, one with health issues, and start over again. Those were mountains. A boulder, where are they going to go to daycare? Very important decision. Very important decision where they're going to go to daycare, who are we going to trust, their nanny, who we're going to choose to help raise them, Where our son is going to school, another mountain. But the things in the middle, where they're going to daycare, is temporary. It's important. It's probably not going to change their entire life where they go to daycare, but it is a very important decision. Who their pediatrician is, another very important decision, but it's not life changing. That's the difference between that mountain and the boulder. Whether we get Pampers or Huggies, pebbles.
And how do
Whether we
you?
use Enfamil or Similac, pebbles.
But you still need the same 10 pieces of conversations for mountain and boulders.
For me,
Yes.
no. I think for mountains, I need 10. Maybe for boulders, we're probably for me, maybe about a 7. There's things I'm taking in consideration for like their daycare, important decision. But I'm also taking things like convenience. Convenience was not a part of the equation to adopt them. What daycare they go to, we're looking at cost. We're looking at distance. We're looking at, is it Spanish versus Mandarin? Smaller, important things. When I'm talking about what pull-ups they're going to have, what formula, if they're going to have Gerber versus whatever, beech nut, whatever, when we're talking about baby food, those are pebbles. Pebbles. Pink versus purple pajamas. How are we going to decorate their room? I'm going to give it some thought, but these are things, if for me, the mountains, if I'm not going to be talking about it 10 years from now, I don't need to talk about it now. A mountain is something that's going to be a conversation 10 years from now. Where they went to daycare, we're not going to be talking about 10 years from now. That's how you determine a mountain from a boulder. Is it going to be important 10 years from now? If not, not a conversation. Not a conversation. It's not a mountain.
Okay.
If it will matter 10 years from now, it's a mountain. If it's going to affect our life in a serious way financially, and we're going to have to make some choices and sacrifice, I think where you're trying to figure out the mountains, I think we're getting more clear on what's a mountain for me. The boulder and the pebbles, maybe not so much to you. But for me, I guess the difference between the boulder and the pebble is the lingering effect of the decision.
Okay, I learned something kind of new.
You choose cars because I really don't care. Charles, I need a car. I want an SUV. I want it this color. Whatever you choose, I don't care.
The mountains I get.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between the boulder and the pebble, now when we're conversating them, they sound the same. So,
Well, it's more of a lingering effect. It's just, is it going to be something that lingers even a year or two? If you're making a decision now and it's not going to affect our relationship, our children, our finances 2 or 3 years from now, then it's probably not a boulder. Then it's
that makes
probably
sense.
not a boulder.
That's something now I can think about when you ask me a whole bunch of questions. It'll help.
Some of it is just knowing my process to make decisions.
Oh, I'm clear. You need 10.
Even if I need them, the gravity of what the outcome will be and how long is it going to affect me is what's going to make it a boulder, and my intensity to whatever we do, whether I need 10 pieces of information or not. How I'm going to react to the situation is how long will that decision affect my life. What car we choose is still going to affect me for 5 or 10 years because I got the payment, the insurance, I got the comfortability, the gas, all of that.
But it gives me another piece of information when I understand how you're responding to what's being said or how the conversation is going. Now there's another piece of information to apply to that. Like, is this a 3-year problem or is this a life-changing? And then that will help me not get so wrapped up to you tripping.
So here we go. When you said, I'm just trying to be helpful. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go buy this thing. And I'm like, did you look at the account? If our account go negative or you like, oh, I want to surprise you. You love this green sofa. And you went and bought this green sofa, which is a true life thing. And you bought this sofa that was like $8,000. Okay, did you look in the account? That you go buy $8,000 sofa as a gift to me without consulting me, but you took $8,000 out of the account.
If that would have happened that way,
do you think that's a?
I wouldn't have did that. We're going to some clarity. Credit is a wonderful thing. I didn't take that out the account, but I understand your point. I'm not buying that for $8,000 unless you're going out of the country somewhere. And I'm like,
this is where we differ. This is where we differ because you didn't take it out the account, but we're still obligated to pay $8,000 for it, whether you put it on credit or not. So
that's
again,
different.
Okay, to you. So we have an $8,000 obligation versus you choosing Chipotle.
That I looked at what the monthly payments are, and I figured that was okay.
You're still talking about $8,000. So to me, $8,000 is a boulder. It's a boulder. It is something that's going to affect. You spend $8,000, it's going to affect us past the 3-5 year because we could have spent the $8,000 somewhere else. I'm not saying that was a bad decision. I'm talking about in my mind, I'm going to think about an $8,000 purchase more than Chipotle and diapers. That's what I'm saying. It's leaning. It's giving small boulder. It's
Mm.
8,000. The value of it, the price tag on it, made it a smaller boulder. Nowhere near a mountain. Not a huge boulder. Not a car, but it's definitely not Chipotle and diapers. And you still made the right decision. I will say that you still made the right decision to buy it and all the thoughts you put into it. But I'm just saying for me, so that you understand the level of the decision making for me. Small boulder, but still a boulder.
Mm. So we learned some things today. Hopefully you did too.
So conversation, it all comes back to communication when you're trying to make these decisions, whether they're big or small. Having the communication with your partner or thinking through whatever your thought process is, just like you said, make the decision, go through whatever process you need to, and then just call the shot, make the decision, live with it, roll with it, and learn what you need to learn from that process of having to make that decision.
Agreed. Couldn't have said it better myself. Hey, fellas, it's Charles again with TDE, Family Law and Divorce Attorneys. I just wanted to give you a little bit of information, tell you what we're here to do, but I understand that you're probably looking at this because you're going through some type of situation that we can assist you with, whether it's your baby mom, whether it's your soon-to-be ex-wife, whether it may be just a parenting thing that you're going to help another family member with out. Um, it's trying, it's stressful. This is a marathon, not a sprint, so nothing's going to happen quickly. The other thing that I want to point out to you is we're here as a resource. Whether you watch our social media ads, whether you tune into our podcast, you can like and subscribe, but hopefully from watching this, there's going to be more information that you can get. One way that you can get one of those resources is just by calling our office. We have people that are there to answer the phones, and they may be able to point you in the right direction. I know that you may have friends or buddies that have went through the court system and you're like, I'm absolutely against child support, but your child may be used as a pawn, or maybe your kindness is being taken as hostage. I'm here to tell you that me and our group of attorneys with a greatly skilled team are here to help you. Look us up on the website, and then from there you can schedule a call. Yes, sometimes these things can be expensive, but anything that you feel is worth it, you always find a way. And if you find your way to our law firm, we are here to help you through it.